Champions League. And then we'll also see some of those major talking points, hopefully this word in the world of European football. We're counting down to some of those key games across the 5 major leagues. I've got DOLAPO here with me together. We'll chat, we'll talk, and of course, we'll also get into some argument. DOLAPO, it's a pleasure having you. How have you been?
I've been fine. Good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon to everyone who has joined us on the show this afternoon.
So let's start with some continental football with no time to waste. DOLAPO, Rivers United tonight. We're playing against 𝐼𝐶 of Morocco. They lost their opening game by 3-0 against Pyramids. And if you have to look at how the draws went in the last few weeks, we know that Rivers were in pot 3 and Pyramids, who are defending champion, 𝐼𝐶 who won the CAF Confed Cup. We know those seats in pot 1 and pot 2. And we know this will be very difficult for the Nigerian club side when you have these two heavyweights. The two were playing in the CAF Super Cup before the start of the CAF, and of course the CAF Champion and the CAF Confed Cup. We saw how these two, went to conquer both inter-club competition last season and what they also did in the Super Cup earlier this year. This will be a tough one for Rivers United. No, there's one thing that we do project when we try to postulate how these games will be in the group stage. We said win all your games at home and see if you can get 1 point away from home. 10 points might just be enough for you to qualify for the quarterfinals. And it doesn't come easier when you play teams from North Africa.
Well, I feel like this is just a bad time for Rivers United to play against a side like this, especially when you look at
what is bad? If you look where they are on the table, it's not bad.
It is bad.
Rivers?
Yes.
No, they're not bad.
They lost. No, I mean on the continent.
Okay. I'm talking about the league now.
I don't want to. I would not like to judge a Nigerian team based on what they are doing in the league at the moment, especially when you see the league champion lose that in that momentum, in that way to Mamelodi Sundowns. It's just not going to be something good to judge a team from the Nigerian Premier League when they go to the continent. They are a different ball game entirely, a different team entirely. So when I watched the game last week against Pyramid on Saturday, I saw how the game played on. In the first half of the game, they were very good defensively and they missed a couple of chances where they could have just converted and the game might not have gone in that way. In the second half, Pyramid took the team up themselves. They scored 3 goals. And also for 𝐼𝐶, they won the CAF Confederation Cup last season and they've been good this season as well. They played against this side from Zimbabwe or from Zambia last weekend. Also, they won Dynamo.
Yeah.
They won 3-0 in that game as well. So it shows how good they are. And it won't be really good for Rivers United because they won't be playing at home in Port Harcourt. And that is one thing that makes it not good enough for them. Because in this type of games, you need your fans to be behind you. You need everybody to keep on shouting. And I don't think with the way, especially with the timing of the game, it starts 5 p.m. I don't think they would have enough fans at the stadium to cheer them up and also make things uncomfortable for the away side today. To be like both sides are playing on neutral ground. Yes, they are at home, they are playing in Nigeria, but then to be a bit easier, especially when you're playing against a team that is above you, miles above you. We've not seen any team in the Nigerian league playing the Champions League since 2018. So that's how bad it is. You are playing your first home game and you won't be playing in front of your own fans. It could be very difficult for Rivers United. But then they can just go into this game having it at the back of their mind, we can do this. It will not be easy because knowing fully well that if you can't get all 3 points in this game, it will be very difficult to get things together. You've lost your last game.
Let's stay with that part where you mentioned not playing their games at home. This is not a side from those lesser, small African countries who went to play that game. Hold on, DOLAPO. Who went to play that game away from home during the World Cup qualifiers. We're talking about Nigeria. We're talking about a team that at the point in time were cruising in the CAF Champions League, getting back to back. How come we've not been able to set up? When state governments know that they've got club side who will play on the continent and they cannot put in funds together to fix their infrastructure, sports-wise now, Rivers State have got about 3. There's the Liberation Stadium, there's the Adokia Masenaka Stadium in Port Harcourt, and you wonder that how come they are not able to fix any of these two for them to have their teams play at home. The distance from Port Harcourt to Uyo is about 3 hours or thereabouts. Yeah. And like you said, 5 p.m., civil servants who want to go watch, how do they get to Uyo in the space of 3-5 hours to go watch that game? So it's a big miss. And for the opponents, 𝐼𝐶, yes, they know that Rivers don't play that game in Port Harcourt. They play on Uyo, and that cannot be good for Rivers. But maybe on the flip side, be good for the Moroccan champions?
Yeah, it's good for them. For Rivers United, it's not good enough, and I think I would put this blame on the guys in charge of the Nigerian league. Maybe it's just high time now we start to put our league, the stadiums we appoint or approve for the league to be on CAF standard for every team. I think it is high time now. I don't think the CAF standard is that
If you do
much.
that, how many? The Apple you can play on you.
No, this is it.
Everybody will have to play on you.
When you look at some of the stadium CAF approves in other countries, you look at it and you say this is not. It's
South Africa have over 10.
Yes, and I saw the place where they took the Super Eagles of Nigeria to play the game against South Africa.
Yeah.
If CAF can approve that, if they can approve stadium as bad as that, and you're telling me we don't have a stadium as bad as that, or even a stadium that can be on par with that, I think we can do that. Even if we cannot get a top class stadium, if we can get stadiums like that CAF can approve. The guys in charge of Nigerian league should look into that and make almost at least 80% of our stadiums to be CAF approved. If we can do that, we can just get something out of this game instead of taking our games away from home, 3-5 hours away from where your own game is supposed to be. It's just like you playing away from home again, and it will not be an advantage for Rivers United. I feel like the best they can just get in this game is a draw, and it will be very hard.
I want Rivers to win. The best will be a win. The best will not be to share the points, knowing that the other game will be in Zambia against where the Zaimens will be playing against Pyramids of Egypt. Let's also remind you that there will also be another game for 5 p.m. in Algiers. 𝐔𝐈𝐒𝐄𝐑 will play against Young Africans of Tanzania. FAR about to play against Al-Ahly 8 to 9. Algiers, MC Algiers will play against Mamelodi Sundowns. And I got news around the teams, Young Africans from Tanzania, Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa, how they've got logistics issues when they arrive in Algiers. Their luggage did not arrive with the players and the playing and coaching staff on time, and this is not good. So wait to see how the two sides, from one from East Africa, Tanzania, talking about Young Africans, and South African side, Mauritius will cope tonight, where they take to the pitch in their CAF Champions League game. Don't forget also that there will be games in the second tier of CAF Interclub competition, the CAF Confed Cup. Club the Safi will play against USM Algiers, and Azam will play against Wydad Casablanca of Morocco. And as we speak, there's one game on, about 80 minutes played so far in that one. Al Masry of Egypt leads against Zesco of Zambia by 3-1. Let's cross over quickly, get to Europe, DOLAPO, because there will be many games happening this weekend. And I've got right in front of me the press conference going on across England. And let's start with the breaking news here, DOLAPO, quickly. For Chelsea, they play against Arsenal 5:30 on Sunday evening, and that is the biggest game in England this weekend. It is first against second, and it's a London derby. And in the last few minutes, Enzo Maresca has been speaking to the media, same also as Mikel Arteta. Let's start with Chelsea Football Club, DOLAPO, that they won't play at home. The good news for Chelsea fans is that Cole Palmer is back in his side, and he can start against Arsenal on Saturday. That's the huge one, because this game, DOLAPO, is a blockbuster.
It's a big game for both sides. The first team on top of the table, and also for Chelsea. Chelsea getting a point or 3 in this game can just make them feel like, okay, we can also contend for the title. We can also say we are title challengers. And also for Arsenal, they want to tell yourself, we have to win this type of game for a lot of reasons. There have been a lot of conversation going on in England for the past couple of weeks now. Player comparison, coaches comparison, and also when you look at what both sides did in the UEFA Champions League in the middle of the week, Chelsea going to beat against Barcelona, playing at home, and they won against Barcelona. Also Arsenal beating Bayern. Those two sides, I think, are the only two sides from England to win their game convincingly in the UEFA Champions League. So a lot of things is going on with this game. But when you look at it,
and both scored 3 goals.
Yeah, they both scored 3. One conceded, one didn't concede. For Chelsea, good for them to have Cole Palmer back. He was watching the game at Stamford Bridge against Barcelona, and before the game he was back in training, which was something very good for Enzo Maresca and the boys. He has not been with this team since the third week of the season, and they've been playing so well. You look at this Chelsea side since
So
September.
How much of a headache this will be for Enzo Maresca?
I think it's a good news for him. Yes, maybe for selection-wise, maybe something of who do I want to play or who am I not to play in this type of situation. But I feel like it's a good one for him to have enough people to come off the bench, especially when you're playing against a team that has good depth in Arsenal. It's just easy. When you have players like Cole Palmer backs, he get back into the starting lineup straight for me, especially in a game like that.
You throw him into the mix?
You throw him into the mix in a game like that. He has to be there. we all know what this guy can do. Yes, Chelsea has been performing so well. They've only lost one game since September.
That's what I'm going. They've not been losing games without him. So what's the point trying to change what's not broken?
But you're playing against Arsenal now. This is different from every other team in the Premier League at the moment. They look like a team that is miles ahead of every other team in the Premier League at the moment, and that is why they are currently 6 points ahead of every team in the Premier League at the moment. So you look like the only team that is close to them. And when you look at the record Chelsea have against Arsenal over the last few years now, they've only won one of their last 11 games against Arsenal. And Arsenal are unbeaten their last 6 visits to Stamford Bridge. So it's not been easy for them. So if you keep player like Cole Palmer on the bench, knowing fully well that he's fit enough to start, according to what Enzo Maresca said in his press conference, he should be starting. Yes, I want to see 𝐶𝐈𝐒 start that game as well, especially looking at what this guy has done over the last few weeks. He should be starting the game. Put him into the midfield. Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Cole Palmer in the middle of the park. Play Pedro Neto and play a striker. I don't think what he did against Barcelona, I think he did that because of Barca's eye line. Playing Pedro Neto as the first 9 in that game would work against Arsenal. You have to use a number 9. Because you need someone who can run on the wing in Pedro Neto. Yes, Garnacho can do that as well, but it will be a very good option off the bench. Play Pedro Neto, play 𝐶𝐈𝐒, play a striker, maybe Leandro DOLAPO or João Pedro, play one of them. And also, another thing you can do is probably play Cole Palmer as a first 9, and it would just give you more addition in the middle of the park, where Arsenal is very strong also this season. So it will be a very interesting game to see this weekend, and I'm looking forward to that game.
All right, so we're still staying with that game. The like at the point in time where we're talking about where the battle lies. Let's talk about Arsenal Football Club on the flip side. Kind of good news for Arsenal fans, because I think I said earlier today that the injury to the Belgian Leandro Trossard is not too serious.
Well, for Mikel Arteta, I think he would have a lot of headache, a lot of selection headache. If Leandro Trossard is not fit for that game, maybe it should just be a blessing in disguise for him. Because I'm saying this because Martin Odegaard came on in the game against Bayern, and you can say maybe he's now fit enough to play a 90-minute or at least start the game.
But he can't replace Leandro Trossard.
Yes,
or he switch information now.
No, this is not a switch information. He can't replace Leandro Trossard.
Yeah.
But he can replace 𝐒𝐻𝐿.
That's what I'm saying. It's about switching information.
So 𝐒𝐻𝐿 can easily get back to the left side of the pitch and play as a left winger.
But you know 𝐒𝐻𝐿 have flourished, played well, enjoyed, hat-trick against Spurs.
That is where the problem lies. Would you put your captain on the bench in a big game like that?
What's the big deal if he's not 100% fit?
He is now fit. He was at least half fit before the game against Spurs. But then it feels like we have enough depth. You can't play in this game. He came on against Bayern. Now, he can play this game. He can start this game. And going by what you've known with Mikel Arteta over the last
So what happened to Gabriel Martinelli?
I feel like Martinelli would not get his chance as a starter at this point in time, because Leandro Trossard looks like a man who is on form for Arsenal now. 5 goals and 5 assists this season already. He's playing so well, getting goals. Some people say he starts padding, but regardless of all of that, he's getting the goals, he's getting the assists. 𝐒𝐻𝐿 now, it's looking like someone that wants to stake his claim. He wants to play every game, he wants to start. Martinelli has been coming off the bench to get goals for Arsenal this season, 4 goals in 4 games in the UEFA Champions League. But I feel like at the moment, the guys ahead of him are performing more than what he can do, and they can give more than what Gabriel Martinelli and Noni Madueke can give. So I feel like he would be on the bench. This conversation has to do with Leandro Trossard and 𝐒𝐻𝐿 now. For me, I feel like if Martin Odegaard is fit, nothing is touching him in that team. Even if 𝐒𝐻𝐿 is scoring hat-trick every weekend.
Let's not get into the argument of 𝐒𝐻𝐿 now, or the argument of Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice, the issue of who should captain Arsenal going forward. I had an argument earlier this season. I'm not going to get into that. But let's talk about where the battle might likely be. Firstly, we talk about Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo, and there's been lots of praise from Declan Rice on the Ecuadorian.
I didn't like that. I wanted him to, because I want to see a battle from both of them. But the way he took that would make it soft, because Caicedo will be coming into the game with full energy. I wanted him to reply and say, we would know who the best midfielder is on that game. I want something that will be fierce. I want it to be. I didn't like that. It was a bit disappointing for me. It was praising him. Yes, I know you should have praise for your opponents.
Sportsmanship.
I didn't want that. I want a rivalry match.
No, why don't you allow them to take that to the pitch? Not do it using the mic to do it.
There are some things that you say that will make it more interesting. We've seen this a Clasico some weeks ago where we saw Lamine Yamal talking about wanting to do Real Madrid, and we saw how the players from Real Madrid turned up in that game wanting to do something.
So you want the guy to say something that will spark something
and make the game more interesting. That would bring the headline of, I said this, not that I voted him for the team of the year. No, I want something else. But then he has gone in that route, and I think I kind of understand what he's trying to do, trying to push pressure away and trying to make the game just a normal game, which I don't want.
So DOLAPO, let's talk about the big one here. The big one has always be check your crystal ball. What can you see?
For me, I think this game,
because it's a game that the likes of Manchester City also will be watching closely.
Yeah, Liverpool.
After they are done with their game against Leeds on Saturday, they will be looking at what will happen between these two sides.
I feel like, for me,
what do you think will work for both? Not put Liverpool in, because Liverpool have their own issues to battle with. What do you think would be in the mind of Pep if they get to win their game against Leeds City on Saturday? What kind of result do you think Pep will be hoping for between these two sides?
I think Pep will be hoping Chelsea get all 3 points in this game, because immediately after the international break, he said something like, the season is just getting started, and then he lost immediately after that. He lost his last 2 games. Now he would want to get back to winning ways. So if he get back to winning ways against Leeds United, he would hope to reduce the gap against Arsenal. Because for me, maybe many of the coaches in the Premier League as well does not really take Chelsea as a real title contender. They feel like Arsenal is the main deal to contend with Manchester City.
But quickly here, before we jump to Germany and see what's going to happen at the Bay Arena between Bayer Leverkusen and Borussia Dortmund, and then go to Italy in Milan, AC against Lazio. All of these games will be on Saturday. But before we get to Germany and Italy, DOLAPO, quickly here, talk to me about one more time this game between Chelsea and Arsenal Football Club, because for people out there is about I know you talk about first against second. Okay, quickly let's quickly see some of the things that Enzo Maresca said during the press conference. He said 12 months ago that Chelsea are not aiming to win the league. Yeah. It's not about winning the league, it's about doing well. But don't you think all of that is changing now? Last season he said it's not about top 4, but we saw how they were able to find their way into the top 4 after getting that last day win against Nottingham Forest at City Ground. So when you begin to hear managers say, we're not going for the league, but look at where they are, hey, something must be happening.
I think December last year as well, they were second on the table. I think joint number of points with Arsenal last season December, they were almost in this type of position. But I think it is different this season. They've been good. When you look at them for a team of Chelsea's caliber and the manner and way they've been playing this season, since early September, they've lost just 1 game, and that was a game against Sunderland, and they've drew 1 against Karabakh in the UEFA Champions League.
And that was at home against Sunderland.
It's at home against Sunderland. Yeah. And when you look at the way they've been playing so far, they look like a team that are playing well. They've been without Cole Palmer for a while now, and they are scoring goals. The problem 2 seasons ago, last season, was without Cole Palmer, Chelsea can be Chelsea. But since Cole Palmer went out, they've had 16 different goal scorers. That is, well, if you include own goals, because they scored own goals against, I don't know, I've forgotten the team they played. They scored the own goal in that game. So they've had 15 different goal scorers in every of their last competition. So they've been so good, and I feel like at the moment, maybe if they get all 3 points in that game against Arsenal on Sunday, they will be in the title conversation. They'll be like, this team can also contend for the title.
That's true.
But right now, they have to just stay humble and see how things go. Because you are not in the title race in November. 2 seasons ago, 2 seasons ago, it was Nottingham Forest that was in almost a similar conversation, in almost a similar position.
Yeah.
But then this is Chelsea. Unlike Nottingham Forest, they are winners. They are the current world champions. So they can do things. But at the moment, just like he said, Enzo Maresca said some weeks ago that the winning the Conference League and the Club World Cup has changed the mentality of the side. If they can look at the table and they see that we are 3 points behind Arsenal and City is not getting closer, we can also be in this conversation.
All right, so let's stay with the conversation, DOLAPO, and talk about it in a minute, because we've got to jump to Germany and Italy in a minute. Liverpool have the news about Arne Slot, 2-match, 6 points, starts this weekend against West Ham. Do you think that if he doesn't get those 2 games done and dusted, by the time we'll come next weekend, because we've got game this weekend and midweek game in the Premier League, so maybe when we come next weekend, we'll be talking about the replacements for Arne Slot and Liverpool if it doesn't work in the next 2 games in the Premier League in 30 seconds.
I feel like if he does not get things together in the next few games, he will get sacked. It can't continue like this, especially for a team that spends £450 million. he would get sacked if things does not change.
All right, Spurs will be looking for the win in the Premier League after they lost to Arsenal. They'll be playing at home at 9 p.m. on Saturday against Fulham after they lost also in the Champions League to Paris Saint-Germain by 5-3. DOLAPO, let's go straight to Germany and see what will be popping up in that league. I think the biggest game this weekend will be at the Bayer Arena between Bayer Leverkusen, who, of course, were playing the UEFA Champions League earlier this week, and Borussia Dortmund, two teams who are involved in the UEFA Champions League. DOLAPO, how big is this in Germany this weekend?
A very big game. Very, very, very big game in Germany. Well, when you look at the way the season has been for these two sides, they've been side playing.
You know, Leverkusen will not take any prisoner. You go to Etihad, beat City by 2-0. The fans don't want story. Come back home, get Dortmund also out of the way.
Well, that is it. Especially when you look at the way they played against Manchester City at the Etihad. They've been so good this season. They've dropped just 1 point
under their new Danish coach.
Under their new coach.
Holland.
They've been performing so well, and you want to ask a question about what was the former Manchester United coach Erik ten Hag doing.
You didn't give him time.
But the same team that the Danish coach is using was the same team he brought together, and they were performing woefully.
He didn't have a good start.
The Danish coach did. He won his first game immediately, drew the second, and started winning games. He went on a run of games, winning wrong, and now he has gone to Etihad to win. Borussia Dortmund as well, in the UEFA Champions League, they've been scoring goals, conceding. They've been
against Villarreal.
Every four goals this season. All of their games are seen at least 4 goals. They've scored so much. In the league this season as well, they've been performing so well, maybe not to the level of Bayern Munich. I think the only team that's defeated Dortmund in the league this season is Bayern. So that shows how these two sides have been good so far. But for me, I feel like this game is one that would see a lot of goals but would end in draw at the end of the day.
So let me also bring you to notice that there will also be one big game in our own MPFL. Enyimba, of course, they've sacked their head coach, Stanley Eguma. They've got someone just standing by for now. They'll be playing against Enugu Rangers at the Enyimba International Stadium. DOLAPO, quickly, let's go to Germany. It's AC Milan against Lazio on Saturday, and on Sunday there will be 2 more interesting ties in Bergamo. Atalanta against Fiorentina, who are seriously struggling. I can't believe that Fiorentina are here where they are. Of course, they sacked the head coach Stefano Pioli the last few days, and of course in Rome it's AS Roma against leaders Napoli Football Club. Can you put this 3 together for a wrap of the show?
Well, I feel like this game, Italy, I think the league is now becoming very interesting when you look at the way everybody is just sitting and the way things are going on the table right now. AS Roma is leading, but everybody looks to be very close, just 2 points behind Roma, AC Milan, Napoli, and 3 points ahead of Inter Milan. So that shows how the league is. And for Fiorentina as well, this season they've only gotten 6 points in 12 games. They had to win a single game. But then, luckily for them, it looked like the new coach have been getting things right. He has gotten 2 draws in his last 2 games. Well, this week against Atalanta, I feel like with the way Atalanta did in the UEFA Champions League, I expect Atalanta to get all 3 points in this game, especially when they'll be playing at home. And then another big game I'll be looking at, and looks like the one I really want to watch, is the game against AS Roma and Napoli. Because last week it was Inter Milan against AC Milan. We saw how Inter Milan kept on missing chances in that game. At the end of the day, AC Milan got all 3 points. But now, AS Roma has been so good defensively. This season they've conceded the fewest goals in the Italian Serie A, conceding just 6 goals. Napoli have been scoring a lot of goals. They've scored 19 goals this season. Their defense line does not really look good. Under Antonio Conte, Scott McTominay is a man on form, scored goals, scored a goal and an assist in the UEFA Champions League this week. So these two sides have been playing so well, first against third, but just 2 points is separating these two sides. But for me, I feel like Roma will be playing at home, and with the way they've been so good defensively, I feel like they'll get something out of this game.
Something out of this game, but something is not going to come out from that red card that Idrissa Gueye got on Monday Night Football against Manchester United in the last few minutes. Everton boss David Moyes confirmed the club have had the appeal against the ban for Idrissa Gueye after his red card for slapping teammate Michael Keane rejected. In his word, he says, "We have appealed and our appeal was turned down. We haven't been given any reason why it was turned down, but we did appeal immediately." So we will not be playing this weekend talking about the Senegalese for the trophies. DOLAPO, I think you have got something last to talk about. Formula One this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's do that in 2 minutes. I saw some crazy event happen in Las Vegas last week between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. They should be careful this weekend. Max Verstappen is watching.
It's very near. Just 24 points is behind.
With 2 more to go.
With 2 more to go. And the first practice have actually gone on today in Qatar. Oscar Piastri takes the first practice. He and Lando Norris leads in the first practice. But then you look at it and you tell yourself, it's just a practice. But for McLaren and for Lando Norris as well, it's high time they start to change things now. They can't give anybody the pedal to go as the main driver. Everybody has to fight for their head now. But with Max Verstappen's experience and knowing fully well that it's a sprint race in Qatar, with his experience, he has won the last 4 championship. He can change things around. But for Lando Norris as well, you can just think we have the fastest car. I saw it yesterday when he was talking. He said he's not under any pressure and he feels calm. But I think it's easier said than done. You can't be calm under this type of situation. If you are just 24 points behind ahead of Max Verstappen with just 62 points to play for, it will be very hard for you to get things around. But I feel like the next 2 weeks or the next 2 competitions will be very interesting to see, starting from this weekend in Qatar.
That's the much we can bring to you. But don't forget, we'll be back here 3 p.m. on Saturday. And that will be the pitch where we'll come give you build up to the Premier League games that will be going down for 4. Thanks one more time, DOLAPO, for being with me on this one. We'll see you guys again on Saturday, 3 p.m. I am Peter Omo.